sticking in the United States, Elon Musk, of course, is the proprietor of X, which used to be Twitter. He bought a few years ago, has now launched a legal case against a number of former advertisers and the Global Alliance for Responsible Media, because he is suggesting or alleging that they basically got together, and this is stuff that came out of a US House of Reps Judiciary Committee finding, that they got together and essentially worked to boycott and encourage advertisers to boycott X and a number of other outlets, including Rumble, which is now joining in on this case, to deprive them of income, essentially. So go and spend your advertising dollars with other media companies because we don't like X. We don't like the fact that Elon Musk has taken a radical view, for instance, on free speech and said, well, we are the public square. We should allow all forms of speech to be shared here. Now, that is, of course, claimed, and we'll get into this again a little further into the show, to be dangerous in some way, because how dare you be able to find out what's actually going on in the world without it being censored. This is what the CEO of Twitter, or X as it now is, Linda Yaccarino, had to say about the case.
These organizations targeted our company and you, our users. The evidence and facts are on our side. They conspired to boycott X, which threatens our ability to thrive in the future. That puts your global town square, the one place that you can express yourself freely and openly, at long-term risk. People are hurt when the marketplace of ideas is constricted. No small group of people should be able to monopolize what gets monetized. This group is no match for the power of our users, all of you. The very same users that have driven usage of X to all-time highs.
Musk has said he is declaring war on these companies and the Global Alliance for Responsible Media. But I've got to say, I find the whole thing a bit odd. And, I mean, we're talking about laws in the United States and the cases they run over there are odd quite frequently. But surely it is the right of a private company and advertiser to choose where they do or do not spend their money, their advertising money, on whatever basis they damn well like. Now, Musk and any other media proprietor or social media proprietor is then well within their rights to criticise someone for pulling their advertising spend because they've decided that, it's not a socially conscious outfit to be spending their money with. And Musk himself had previously said, I think it was about Disney, when they were talking about pulling advertising money, that they should go F themselves. Surely that's just the right of a private company to choose where it spends its money. Why should that be a court case?
I guess the problem is we're still trying to figure out what social media is, right? And X is the place where most people are now getting their news. And if you want conservative news in particular, or you just want news that's not filtered by the ideology of a particular organisation, X is the place to get it. So global companies that want globalism and don't want people talking about sovereign borders or any of the things that conservatives talk about, particularly Elon Musk lately, we'll get to his comments on what's happening in the UK in a moment, then it's in your interest to try and shut down any discussion. So it's not so much they're boycotting a particular company, i.e. X, but they're really, as was explained by the ex-CEO, they're trying to shut down any and all discussion around conservative, what some might call right-wing thinking.
Also, I think the suit is more about the fact that these guys got together and, she says earlier in that clip, illegally conspired to bring down X by doing this. So this wasn't like I'm boycotting this brand of chocolate because they use cocoa from a country that still uses slaves to farm it. This was a you and you. We're all very powerful companies. We are getting together to organise ourselves such that we are no longer advertising with this platform, and we are doing it with an end to see its demise.
But why should that be illegal? I just don't understand in a free market why that should be illegal. So there's a group called Sleeping Giants, and at the risk of inflaming them again because we haven't heard from them for a while, but they spent a lot of time organising boycotts against News Corp and Sky News and whatever by getting people to write off to advertisers and say, you must stop advertising with these companies because we don't believe in their ethos. And they had some success in doing that. There were certain advertisers who did pull out, and we should then be able to criticise them until the cows come home for doing so and say to viewers, these are the people you shouldn't spend your money with because they have pulled their money away from us because they don't like your views. They're coming after you. That's essentially what it's about. But surely in a free market, even if a bunch of advertisers get together and say we're going to act as a group, why should they not be allowed to do that? I mean, it's like me walking into the boardroom of an organisation of which I'm a member or I'm on the board of, and saying, I don't like the chairman and I'm going to organise all of my fellow committee members, board members, to oust the chairman because I don't like him. If I can convince all the other board members to do that with me, then I'm just doing good business, aren't I?
I do take your point, but at the same time, should there then not be protections in place?
What, to force them to continue
because
advertise?
then what we're talking about when it comes to X and Rumble, who, by the way, has joined this suit, because they've also had people gang up on them, try to get them demonetised.
And just
what
before
we're
we continue,
talking
Musk
about,
has encouraged other media organisations to experience the same thing to get on board as well. So this class action could grow.
Because what we're talking about now is at the crux of a culture war. And unless Conservatives have more money, and looking at the state of the world, we most certainly don't, and unless Conservatives have more influence, which again, I don't think we do, we've got the likes of Elon Musk's absolute legends who are putting billions of their own dollars on the line in order to prevail in the face of this onslaught that we are seeing of leftist ideology, censoring everybody else, shutting down everybody else, even if you're in the UK, knocking on your door and telling you you're under arrest for something you posted on Facebook. So in this current culture war, I think he is bringing a very important case, because if left to the likes of the corporates, how many do we have on our side? And it would be only a matter of time before X ceased to exist and was completely demonetized. Rumble, which is where everyone who's been kicked off YouTube then goes to make podcasts, to talk to their followers, to push out information, much like they do on X, because it's not censored. It's a free speech platform. These guys would cease to exist. That's why they're calling it now, while they still have money in the bank and they're able to fight their case. But this is going to be an incredibly important case, because while I take your point regarding the free market, and I'm very much a free market girl, yay the free market, what we have here is a culture war that is simply going to mean that if they win in this respect, and it is perfectly legal for you to get together with all your corporate mates and make my life as a platform or as an individual literally impossible. I can't make money anymore. I'm just going to have to go flip burgers. Then that means the eradication of X. That means the eradication of Rumble off the face of the earth. And people can't overestimate their importance. The amount of stuff that we learn on X, just because everyday citizens are experiencing their lives, posting videos, stuff that none of the media is covering except for here on Sky News. But it is so important. It is so important. So if we're just to leave this to the culture war and say, oh, well, it's free market, you guys can just team up and start ruining every platform you don't like. I mean, these companies that we're talking about, CVS Health, which is a massive, massive pharmacy chain in the US, Mars, all your chocolates, your M&Ms, those are all Mars, Orsted and Unilever. These are massive companies, and I'm sure there's more in this cohort. If those guys can just team up and then do anybody out of business that they want to, is that a free market, or is that just corporate tyranny stomping on everyone that they disagree with?
It's in some ways the free market we've created by making those companies so powerful, isn't it? But I would say in return, boycott them. Like, do the counter boycott them as well. And we saw it actually worked a bit with Bud Light. Like, people started pulling Bud Light out of their pubs.
That was a
sales went through the floor. Like, you know, we've actually got to mobilise in a real way, Conservatives, and choose where we spend our dollar as well. well. The left is very good at it, and we let the left do it a lot, and we're reticent to do that. I think we should choose where we spend our dollar a lot more wisely too.
Well,
I agree, but this is going to be an incredibly important case, and thank God that the people with the big bucks are bringing it, because none of us can afford to, and we desperately need them.